What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Sly Geordie and welcome back to F1 24. Today we are going to be checking out the F1 2025 preview cars that you get from pre-ordering F1 25, which comes out at the end of the month. This is going to be one of 3 final videos that we are going to be making on this game. We really haven't made that much compared to 23. Actually, this is the first time I've playing the game since I think October when they put out the new F2 cars, so it's been a while, and before that it was July. So I really didn't like this game and I'm looking forward to moving on, and we're going to get a little preview of not only the liveries that we'll be using but also the new My Team chassis or F1 World chassis, whichever you want to go with. So yeah, we've got this video coming up. I've got some ranked multiplayer moments, you know, leftover clips from the first couple of months of the game last year, and then we're going to do one final live stream a day before early access, just to say goodbye, or rather good riddance, to this game. So first of all, we've got the McLaren, which really hasn't changed too much compared to last year. They really didn't need to change it, to be honest, but it would have been nice if they did. We've got Red Bull, of course, same thing really. In fact, even more so. This looks the same every single year. We've got Aston Martin, so we've got no Ferrari and no Mercedes, strangely enough. Ferrari, I expect it, you know. We didn't get them last year neither for, well, we didn't get them last year for F1 23, which makes sense coming from somebody that, you know, has done Need for Speed content on the channel. Ferrari really doesn't like much customization at all, so having their livery on a completely different chassis wouldn't make any sense. But this Aston Martin livery, definitely an improvement on last year. I really didn't like last year's Aston Martin. Let's go back to the Aston Martin. I don't know, I thought the sponsors looked a bit more tacky than the 2023 Aston Martin. It looks really cluttered, whereas this 2025 version, there's a little bit more extra space. The yellow lime greenish thing is more pronounced, and particularly the side pod looks a lot less cluttered. I really do like this year's Aston Martin. It's a shame that the car itself is actually crap. But yeah, speaking of Mercedes being missing, really didn't expect that at all. But to be fair, it isn't much different from last year's Mercedes, let's be real. Besides, you know, removing the red, which is a welcome change, but whatever, I'm not going to cry about no Mercedes. We've got the Alpine, which is a huge improvement on last year's Alpine. Last year's was just a complete and utter disappointment. It was so boring. It was mostly just carbon. It was a big shame. But this year, obviously, I didn't like it at first. I really didn't. I still think the BWT logo on the side pod there is just still like tacky in my opinion, but the rest of the car looks absolutely fantastic. I'm glad they found a way to fully merge the blue and the pink, and to be honest, we don't have that long left with Alpine, I don't think, because they'll be using Mercedes engines next year, and then I think it's only a matter of time before they change the team name entirely. We've got Haas, which have a great livery this year. I particularly, again, like the side profile a lot more. This does look beautiful. Here's one, though, that I am really excited to drive, and that is the Racing Bulls. Still called Visa Cash App RB in this game, but I'm assuming they'll change that for F1 25. This looks great. A white Red Bull. I'm really looking forward to driving this in the full game. We've got the Williams, which isn't too different from last year, except we've got a bit of a brighter blue this time, with Atlassian as the main sponsor. I think everybody else is pretty much the same. We have Santander somewhere on the car. I don't know where, but it would mostly be a sponsor for Carlos Sainz regardless. Yeah, I don't think it's any... Oh yeah, there it is. I see it. I had to look for that for a bit there. And here's the Kick Sauber. I don't know how I feel about this. The gradient looks really cool in game. I don't think it looks this good in real life. Definitely an improvement on last year's Sauber for sure. And we're actually going to start with driving the Kick Sauber, I think. That's going to be the end of the commentary portion of the video. I hope you guys enjoy the multiple clips that we'll have with the F1 2025 preview cars. And I'll see you all next time for some more F1 24.